This print-on-demand idea is taking Etsy by storm, and they're using Printify to do it. Let's see how they took one specific design idea and turned it into $200,000 in just 6 months' time. Hello and welcome back to another super awesome Etsy video. Before we dig into their Etsy sales stats, which are freaking incredible, I want to show you that this store actually only has 100 listings in their store. And I've talked in a few videos and in my tips post on my social media pages that 100 listings is kind of a magic number for the Etsy algorithm to classify your shop a little bit faster and get your listings up in that search page feed. And I actually go into more detail on this in the video I'm going to put the card at the top for right now, but I wanted to point out that this store only has 100 listings and they are all pretty similar to one another. They're all in a very specific bachelorette party niche, and this store is killing it in sales. So let's take a look at those Etsy sales stats so you can see how insanely profitable this niche actually is and how Etsy buyers are just eating these products up and buying them like crazy. So this store has exactly 6,200 sales. They just hit that wonderful number, and they have, if we look through their feed here, an average product price of about $32. And if you see here, if we click on one of these, you can see that their base price for this sweatshirt is $28.70, but it is a whole $8.50 to ship it. So that $32 is pretty conservative. I like to keep my numbers conservative, and I know I say that in every video, but I cannot stress that enough because I want these estimates to be realistic for you guys so you really have a good idea of how this store is going in their annual sales and what kind of money they could be making and not get some crazy clickbaity numbers. So anyways, average price here is about $32. And if we scroll down to their feedback and look at their very first feedback, their earliest one, you are not going to believe this. It is actually August 18th of 2023. So we have, a couple weeks of August here, and we're in the first couple days here of March. So we're talking 6 months. 6 months and 2 weeks approximately. That is absolutely crazy to have 6,200 sales in only 6 months' time. And when you take an average product price of $32 for all of those sales, that gives you an approximate sales so far of $198,000. And that's not an annual estimate because they've only been open for 6 months, right? So if you want an annual estimate, it's going to be at least double that, assuming they don't grow at all and their sales stay steady. But so far, they've brought in about $200K, which is crazy. And if we scroll back up through their listings, you're going to see there's another perk to this store that I haven't mentioned yet, and it's going to take those insane Etsy sales stats we just talked about and really blow them out of the water. But before we dig into all of that, I wanted to give a massive shout out of congratulations to Anna of Boho Babe Mockups. These are one of the best quality mockups on Etsy, and Boho Babe Mockups has just opened their own website, which is so exciting. So, to celebrate their grand opening, I've teamed up with Anna to bring you a 20% discount on all the Boho Babe mockups your heart desires through my exclusive link, which I will post down below for you. So, let's give Boho Babes a huge shout of congratulations and go grab those mockups while they are on sale. Okay, now that you've gotten all the Boho Babe mockups, amazing images, let's talk about what's making this store some serious cash. These listings are for bachelorette party or bachelorette getaway shirts and sweatshirts, which means that they are almost always being bought in multiples. They're being bought for the entire group of bachelorette, maids of honors, bridesmaids, all of that good stuff. So I gave you their Etsy sales stats based on the assumption of only one sale per order, so about $32 per order, because what if each member of the bridal party buys their own and they're all responsible for it themselves, right? But there's an extremely high likelihood that they're getting a lot of orders coming through for the entire bridal party at once, which means that these sales stats are even more absolutely bonkers than what I estimated. So keep that in mind as you notice two things. One, how similar these designs are to one another and how easy growing this to 100 listings must have been. And two, how many of these listings start with the words luxury bachelorette merch. As you can see right on my screen, a lot of these say luxury bachelorette merch as their first main three words. There is a couple of variations. For example, this one says tropical bachelorette shirts. They have last splash bachelorette, but a lot of them do say luxury bachelorette merch. And that means that they're utilizing the 360 SEO strategy that I've been talking about so much throughout Q1. So that really makes it faster and easier for Etsy's algorithm to classify this brand new store, classify these listings, and get them in the right searches for the right buyers. Because even their other listings have very similar titles and keywords attached. So they've got a super specific niche with a very specific design style, and that worked in their benefit. So let's look at one of their bestsellers for t-shirts and one of their bestsellers for sweatshirts. And we're going to notice a few key things about these listings here that I want to point out for you. So if we scroll down a little bit on these listings here, you're going to see that this product was made with help from Printify. So they actually all say that. And first of all, you do not have to state clearly that it is Printify. You can actually protect your privacy a little bit and protect yourself from competitors a little bit by changing this to say this item was made with help from a high quality print shop. I do have a full tutorial on how to set this up properly with Printify so that you can not only protect your privacy, but also make sure you're following all of Etsy's terms and conditions. I will put that card at the top for you as well. But the reason I'm pointing this out to you is because Printify is literally a one-stop opportunity to run your Etsy business with so much less work. Everything can be done all with Printify in terms of processing your orders, shipping your orders, and it's all done for you. You don't have to actually make these shirts and ship them out yourself. So Printify really makes things easy, not only to identify similar products. So for example, this is a Bella Canvas 3001, and if we jump over here, we can quickly see that they have the Bella Canvas 3001 available from a huge variety of vendors all over the world. So there's US vendors, there's Canadian vendors, there's UK vendors, EU vendors. This one is Germany. So there's tons of different options to provide worldwide shipping, and that's going to make it easier for you to expand your store and get a larger potential audience base or potential pool of customers all around the world because they're not going to have to wait 4 to 6 weeks for their order to get through customs if you're shipping it to another country. So that is something that I wanted to point out. They do also have the sweatshirt on Printify as well. So here on their color options image, you can see that it's a Gildan 18,000. And if we go back to Printify and type in sweatshirt, the first one that's going to pop up is that Gildan 18,000. And again, they do have worldwide vendors from all over the place, all sorts of different countries, so you can capitalize on that worldwide shipping. Now, I do want to give a quick disclaimer because it's very important that you should never directly copy another seller ever. But I do case study these stores to show you what's selling and what's trending and hopefully help you identify some areas to improve or set yourself apart so that you can come up with your own designs to compete against these types of stores and attract some of these customers who are going to prefer your designs over theirs. And that's really what makes the difference because if your designs are too similar to this store's, Etsy is just going to rank you below their listings and it's going to be a lot harder to get your store off the ground and successfully build up sales. sales. But you can take this knowledge from this video and target that same bachelorette party idea or bachelorette party niche to build your own wildly successful store that has your own unique style applied to the designs. And that's going to make your listings look a bit different so you can have a better opportunity to compete against stores like this and attract some of the buyers in this niche. Because obviously there's a lot of potential for sales here. So, if you're thinking of jumping into a niche like this, don't forget to set your prices to be competitive while you're building up your sales and getting your feedback established and get busy growing. So, another thing that makes this store super successful is that these are primarily personalized designs. So they're really capitalizing on two niches in one here, and it's working really well for them because, as I've said in a lot of my previous videos, personalized products tend to sell really, really well compared to non-personalized or streamlined products. And the perk of having evergreen or streamlined products that don't have personalization is that you can set them up to run on autopilot. Printify can ship those out automatically every time you get an order, and you don't have to do anything else once you establish that listing and create the design the first time. But the perk of the personalized orders is that there's a massively higher number of potential customers because a lot of people want personalized gifts, or in this case, personalized bachelorette party shirts and sweatshirts. Now, another thing that I wanted to point out about this particular niche is because these are so in demand and because these are specific designs with a specific target market that consistently buys these products and often buys them in sets or groups of multiples, that gives them the opportunity to have a slightly higher price point than most t-shirts or sweatshirts that you may find listed on Etsy. The demand is there to support a higher pricing. So for example, this shirt here, if we get it in, we'll say white, and pretty much all of them except the extra large sizes are the same, so $19.60. And it's another $5 to ship. So that puts this at about a $25 price point, just under 25 bucks. And if we go to my calculator here, and this is the calculator that comes with my Etsy Seller Success Workbook. It's great for product research. But let's put their prices in and just see what kind of profits they might be getting. So coming back to that shirt listing, it is actually on sale. So their original price is 28 bucks with 30% off. So I'm going to type in 28 bucks and I'm going to mark that they have it 30% off. And we said shipping was $4.75. Now it's going to calculate the Etsy seller fees automatically, and worst case scenario, we're going to pretend this gets sold as an offsite ad, so there's a little fee there. So if we come back over here to that Bella Canvas 3001 t-shirt here, we're going to find a US provider since we're talking about US shipping. And you want to find one that has a pretty good rating, but they also have a different variety of pricing. I like SwiftPod. I also like Demona Tea and Monster Digital, but be careful not to choose the ones that have under 9.0 because their quality tends to be a little bit less consistent and their production time tends to be longer and also probably less consistent. So for this sake, we're going to go with SwiftPod because they have good scores, pretty good production time, and decent pricing. If you don't have Printify Premium, it's going to cost $10.91 to ship this. It's a little cheaper if you do have Printify Premium. And of course, I do have a link to Printify down below. It's an affiliate link, so you can get started on Printify absolutely for free. It does not cost you anything. So coming back to my calculator, I'm going to put that t-shirt price in here, and then it is $3.99 to ship with SwiftPod, so I'm going to add that in as well. And that gives me a $3 profit margin, or 12%, worst case scenario if it's an offsite ad, and a $6.69 or 27.5% profit margin if it's not an offsite ad. Now here's where things get really interesting because these Printify shipping providers, if you click on more info here, they discount the shipping for additional items. So if they buy these in multiples, it's only $2.19 to ship this, which means that for every one that they sell past that first one, so if they get an order for 2 or 3 or 4, those other ones will be a little bit higher of profit. So that second shirt's going to be at $8.50 profit. And that really does help boost your overall bottom line and that actual income that's coming into your business after you pay for the supplies and things like that. So I did want to point that out, that having this particular niche that specifically targets groups is really smart because that's going to have a really positive effect on their profit margins. Now, the last thing that I wanted to point out about this store is if we come back to their images here, they do have really great quality mock-ups, and don't forget you can get amazing mock-ups from 𝑬𝒕𝒔𝒄's mock-ups, 20% off with my discount as well. They did a clever job of making a video out of different mock-ups, so they didn't have to worry about like a live action motion type video. And then the important part that I really wanted to point out here was that they have great infographics. So here you can see all the different glasses or beverages that you can choose for the design. They also have a really detailed print color options image, and you don't see this too often, but it is showing you exactly what the different printing colors are going to look like on the different sweatshirts. And that's very, very smart because that's making sure their customers know exactly what to expect before they place their order. And that's a huge factor in Etsy's algorithm. Etsy specifically boosts the SEO scores and the visibility of stores that have high customer satisfaction. So the more positive feedbacks you get, the better your store is going to do, the more sales Etsy is going to kick in your direction. Having these really good infographics like this one, and they have an in-depth FAQ as well. These types of infographics are really, really helpful. So you can actually go into Canva and make some similar types of infographics for free. This is important to keep customers happy and get more of those 5-star reviews. And I do have a Canva branding template that has some examples of these images. And I've also been thinking of making a free resource that has a few of these templates of these like FAQs and how to order type infographics. So if that would be helpful for you guys, please comment below and let me know if you would like those so that I can add it to my priority list of free Etsy resources. But in the meantime, you can grab the branding template or any of my other free resources at the link down below. And to see another clever print-on-demand niche that utilized a super simple strategy to grow insane sales on Etsy, make sure to watch this video next.